Welcome to our podcast, Techies That Talk with Jill and Neha. Today, we are going to talk about our journey in Toastmasters. And you may ask, what is Toastmasters? And we will let you know. But before that, let us introduce ourselves. I am Neha. I have my co host, Jill. And let us start with telling us about ourselves. Jill, do you want to start?
I'm Jill. I've been a Toastmaster since 2005, so just about 19 years now. I joined Toastmasters in 2005 because it was politically correct. My boss was the chartering president of the club for the company that I worked for. It was something I really didn't think that I needed. I thought that I could talk to people all day long, especially given my job. I was in the IT world at that time, actually in application support. So I talked to people. Little did I know that there were a lot of things that Toastmasters could offer me, hence being in Toastmasters 19 years. And I met Neha at a club meeting, and I'll let Neha tell you about that herself.
Okay, so for me, my Toastmasters journey started with a random colleague mentioning it to somebody else, saying, "Hey, I'm going to the Toastmasters meeting." And I'm like, "What is Toastmasters?" And she's like, "It helps you with your public speaking." And my eyes just lit up. I'm like, I need that. I did have an accent problem, and I used to speak very fast. And that is because I think it's just my upbringing in India, where English was not my first language. And I tend to speak very fast when I'm nervous, and the person on the other side could not understand me. So when she said, "Hey, this is a nonprofit organization that helps you with your public speaking," I just jumped into it. And I researched the clubs where I was working, and the club that I found was Keller Communicators, where I met Jill. Uh, the club was awesome. It really helped me slow down when I speak so that at least the person on the other can understand what I'm trying to say. Definitely helped me overcoming my fear talking in front of more than one person, which is one on one. And I think that's just because of the way of my upbringing was in school. It was all about for us getting grades. It was not about how well you would communicate. It was all about how well you did on written test. It doesn't matter whether you understand or you can speak clearly. So I think Toastmasters came into my life at very late in life, but that's where I met Jill. I think Jill was my pseudo mentor, not the official mentor in the club, but a pseudo mentor. And then we have been friends ever since. I think I joined Toastmasters in 2009, 2009 or 2010. So it's been some time for me too that I've been in Toastmasters, but we have been friends ever since. Ever since we met in Keller Communicators, and currently we both are in Highway to Excellence Club. Again, this club, Toastmasters Club, are in Dallas, Texas. And for me, I'm trying to get my filler words down. If anybody wants to, can keep a track of log of how many filler words I had in this my first episode. I'm going to try and consciously see not have many filler words, but it definitely helped. The Toastmasters really helped me gain my confidence, overcome my fear talking in front of crowd, and more than that, it helped me realize how your body language and your tone matters. Your words are important, but the way you speak is also important. I learned that from Toastmasters. I think I learned from Jill how to write actually a speech, how to write an effective speech, how to deliver an effective speech. Even today, when I am competing, she's the first person I go to show my speeches like, hey, this is what I'm writing. What do you think? So that's where, and the reason our podcast is Techies That Talk, because we both are from IT world. I am a database engineer, and Jill is a Scrum Master or project manager, or both.
Project manager, Scrum Master, similar but different roles.
Yes. So we both come from IT world. I think the reason we both came into Toastmasters was completely different, but we had a similar mission or vision once we have joined Toastmasters. So the next thing we would like to move on to is, why do we stay in Toastmasters? We've been in Toastmasters. You have been for 19 years. I've been more than like 10 years. Why do we stay in?
There's many reasons why I stay in Toastmasters, but to back it up a little bit, Toastmasters is known for public speaking, but there is so much more that you can achieve by being a Toastmaster. There are opportunities for leadership, which is something that is very important for me and for my job. That's one of the reasons that I stay in Toastmasters. There are friends from all over. I have met people all over the state of Texas being a Toastmaster and gotten to be friends with them. But I've also had the ability to go to Toastmasters meetings outside of this country. I went to a Toastmaster meeting in Poland once. I went to an international conference that was in Orlando. I met people from all over the world. And one of the things that I really like about Toastmasters is they're very friendly and have never met a stranger. So I enjoy meeting people from all over and learning about different cultures, which helps me in my job as well. But in addition, like I said, the leadership skills. A couple of years ago, just post-pandemic, I chaired the district conference. It's just a 2-day event that every district puts on once a year. And it was a learning opportunity for me, but because it helped me exercise leadership skills in a different way, it helps me professionally. And I learned to deal with all different kinds of personality types and how to communicate with them and how to help them be the best that they can be in whatever job that they are involved with. So that's why I stay in Toastmasters. I have so many opportunities to grow and to learn and to help myself professionally. Now, why do you stay in Toastmasters?
I stay in Toastmasters because I feel like I have not achieved my potential yet. I think I have more to give. I feel I have more to learn. I have met you who has been Toastmasters for 19 years and other people who've been in Toastmasters for very long, but I've seen the fluidity for you guys is very easy. Like when you are giving your speeches or when you're giving your evaluations or feedback or even thinking on toes, if you are asked, I am not there yet. I do not feel comfortable if somebody asks me questions to think on the spot. I really am flustered most of the times and I babble a lot. I've learned that. Every time I'm nervous, I babble a lot. So I have a lot to learn. I don't feel like I have learned, like I've learned everything, all the skills that you can achieve in Toastmasters. I feel like I have a lot more to learn and then also a lot more to give. I do want to help people who are just coming in, especially I have met a lot of Indians who do not have the accent problem at all, and then there are a few who do, and I want to help them. I want people to come out of their shell like I could. Because I feel a lot of people are very nervous. The idea of public speaking brings anxiety. And I want to help people. So I want to learn and I want to help. The other reason I stayed is meeting people like you who help me become a better speaker and a better evaluator. I think another reason I have stayed in Toastmasters is contest. I love public speaking contests. I love participating in them. Yes, I am not a very good loser is the right word I would say. But every time I lose, it just fuels me to get back in the next time, to learn from those who won and see how I can do it next year or next term that we have. So the other thing is meeting people from across the board. That is another reason I've stayed in Toastmasters. You meet people from different walks of life. Like I met you. We are so different. Besides our IT background, we are so different. But the Toastmaster is a connection. So I've met people with so many different backgrounds. I think, I don't know if I should plug this in, but I did meet my husband in Toastmasters too. He left Toastmasters. He's like, there's just for room for one Toastmaster in this house. So yeah, he left, but I'm still in. I love the idea of listening to different people from different walks of life. Like that's why I change my club generally every time where I work, because I feel like you need to go beyond your club. Uh, and like you said, the district conferences, you meet people from all the clubs. That's another good thing. Like you get to meet so many different people. Uh, do you think it's like a social experiment? It's like a social experiment where you find yourself, trying to find yourself in the club. How do you fit in, and whether the club fits for you? Do you think? I feel like it's a social experiment. It's
I
small.
don't think of it as a social experiment as much as just life. We're doing that every day, no matter where we are or who we are, trying to find where we fit in. But I find that fitting in with the different clubs. Now, I belong to 2 different clubs, and my role and the way I fit into the clubs are different depending on the club. Now, we belong to a club together, and it's an advanced club. So that speaks to something. Maybe it's because we've been in for a long time that we're in that advanced club, but I really think, at least for me, being in an advanced club offers me the opportunity to learn and grow from people who have a lot of experience at different experiences than what you and I have.
Just a question to follow up. Have you been to a club where you felt you didn't fit in?
Have I been to a club that I didn't fit in?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I have. Every club has a different culture. And sometimes I don't fit into that culture. Does it make it right or wrong? No, it's just different. But it just is. It's okay.
I guess that, yeah, it's okay. Like I've been to clubs, I have visited clubs, and I just feel this is not the right one for me. And there's nothing wrong about it. I think if you are just joining in, you may not even think whether this is the right one or not. But I think I have been to clubs where I just feel this is not the right one for me, especially the corporate clubs. I've been to corporate clubs, and I don't feel those are the clubs that I fit in.
Now, that's interesting because I started in a corporate club, and the company that I worked for at the time really got to be more than just a company, but the people I worked with, I've worked for a long time. So they're like a family. And there are some members of Toastmasters who worked with me even today, and I still think of them as family. I ended up leaving the company and therefore leaving the club, and I moved on to other clubs. And I've been a member of a variety of clubs over the years, which I think adds a different flavor to my experience.
Do you know how many clubs you have been in? Like,
Oh,
any idea, rough idea?
probably in the neighborhood of 7 to 8 different clubs over the years. And that's not to say that they were serial clubs, meaning one at a time. Sometimes I belong to 2 or 3 clubs. Look, I belong to 2 clubs now. So you and I belong to this advanced club, Highway to Excellence, and we meet once a month. Then I also belong to a weekly club, Keller Communicators, and the cultures in the clubs are very different, and they offer different things.
Which one do you prefer, weekly or monthly?
That's hard to say. like I said, they offer different things. If Highway to Excellence were a weekly club, it would be difficult being the advanced club that it is. I would definitely enjoy that, and I probably would have to think twice about belonging to another club, just from a time perspective. But the weekly club offers you the opportunity to speak in different roles. And there are many different roles in a Toastmasters meeting. They're all fairly standard from club to club. But for example, next week, I'm going to be an evaluator. And I'm going to have the opportunity to evaluate speakers in Hybrid Excellence as often as I do in Calo. And the gentleman that I'm going to evaluate next week, I've never evaluated before. So that's a new opportunity for me. And it's a new opportunity for him. It gives him a different perspective on his speech and how to improve things.
So would you say if it's somebody that is joining in, weekly club would be the right club for them over monthly
Absolutely.
clubs?
Absolutely. A weekly club, when you're first starting out, you really need to have that weekly reinforcements because there are so many basic techniques that you need to work on. And if you are only doing a meeting once a month and working on them, it's kind of like exercising. If you're not exercising the muscle, you're not growing. And if you're only exercising it once a month, you really are not seeing progress. And if you're not seeing progress, it's hard to see the benefit of something.
I think one more thing that I didn't like about the corporate club, at least for me, was when the club is very small, you end up doing 2 or 3 roles. And as a beginner, I would prefer to hide out in the background. Or I don't want to be just right up there when I join. But that's just me. That was my preference. I wanted to hide out in at least first 2 sessions. As soon as I joined in, I didn't want to do anything. But the one good thing is every club I have been, the VP of education is the person who is in charge of making the agenda for the meeting. They're very nice. Like they're like, you can start with a smaller role like timer where you don't have to talk much, before jumping into other roles that are there in Toastmasters. So I think most of the clubs that I've been, they're very helpful. Like everybody's very nice, but you meet different personalities. Not everybody's type A and type B. Another thing that I've figured out is every club does things differently. A simple thing as making agenda for every meeting, every club does it in a different way. So that is another learning thing for you. Like, hey, this club makes the agenda in this manner. You can learn if you choose to be one of those person who wants to make the agenda for the club in your next club or the same one. What do you think have you achieved from Toastmasters?
There is so much that I have achieved from Toastmasters over the years. First, to be able to speak smoothly. That is the number one thing. I do speak without a lot of crutch words. And we use that term to mean those things like ums, ands, ahs, whatever that you use to fill in the blanks when you're trying to think of what you're saying. That's what a crutch word is. I don't use those as much as I used to. I have found that I do not have a problem talking to people at all levels, whether in a corporate world. I had given presentations at the senior level, talking to senior VPs, whatever. I have a lot more polish when I'm talking to people. Being around all different kinds of cultures, I have learned the nuances of a lot of different cultures that have helped me work one-on-one with people. And I have funny stories to tell about some of those. It's a learning experience. It's not all about how I grew up. Neha grew up somewhere else. Her experiences are very different from mine. I grew up in the US, you did not. You moved to the US and you have that experience. I've never moved to a foreign country. I've never lived in a foreign country. I don't know how I would deal with that change in culture, meshing the two, if you will. Toastmasters has actually helped me with job interviews. You think that that is not a direct correlation or direct translation, but there is a part of the meeting called table topics, which is impromptu speaking. And the techniques that I have learned from table topics, that impromptu speaking, has helped me with interviews. The job that I have right now, it helped me answer a question. They asked me if I knew something, and I was able to answer the question, but redirect the answer so that it was much more positive than if I had answered it 20 or 25 years ago. I mean, there's just a whole wealth of things that I have gotten out of Toastmasters that it makes me want to get back. What about you,
Oh.
Neha?
You know what? I have learned from Toastmasters how to write. I used to write long love letters in an email, which people hardly read, which I learned the hard way. I think with Toastmasters, I learned how to be concise. Like, just talk to the point and be very concise. And I've seen that because I've seen other people writing this email with long stories, and I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? I don't know why you have like 1,000-letter emails why are you writing that? And I think people tend to repeat themselves a lot, even while writing an email. And I'm like, why? So I think I've definitely learned how to concisely write to deliver your message clearly. That is the one thing I learned. Learning how to write speeches helped me learn how to write emails in our IT world. Like, be direct, be very precise, and don't write 1,000-letter, 1,000-words email. Nobody has time to read that. Second thing was tone. I never used to consciously hear my tone when I'm speaking. To my friends, to my brother, I feel like I'm making a jab, but that tone seems like I am shaming them, So I never used to watch or be conscious about the tone I am using when I'm talking to other people. And Toastmasters helped me with that. It's just not what you speak, it's very much about how you speak. I learned that from Toastmasters. So now I'm a little conscious, especially talking to my manager or to my colleague, that I need to be careful of my tone. My tone says more than my words. So that is something that I've achieved. The third thing I really have achieved is learning how to take feedback. When people used to give me feedback, I used to take it very personally. I think Toastmasters taught me it's not personal. It's just a feedback for you to improve. Like, you don't have to take it personally. When somebody is giving you feedback, it's not personal, just trying to help you to be better. I think that's one another thing that I've learned from Toastmasters is giving feedback and receiving feedback. I think initially it was receiving feedback. When I was receiving feedback, when I joined the Toastmasters, I was like, oh my God, they don't think I'm a good speaker. I can't do this. I cannot, this is not the place for me. Everybody else is so good. But I think that's when my mentors like you and others who the feedback is not personal. It's just about your public speaking. And again, I think as the time went by, I also learned it's that person's opinion does not necessarily make it true. Like, do not, just because that's how they feel. It's just one person's opinion. You take the good out of it if you can and leave the rest. Like, you do not have to.
That's the thing.
Their word is not a gospel.
It's an opinion.
It's an opinion. I think all my confidence has come from Toastmasters. Prior to Toastmasters, I was not a self-confident person. I avoided crowds. I avoided talking in a social setting. I if you go on Google and, when you just put public speaking and all the anxiety, nervousness, fear, I had all of that before coming to Toastmasters. And today we are here doing a podcast. So I think Toastmasters has really brought my confidence where we can talk confidently. I do have one last thing before we wrap up. Do you have any memory of Toastmasters of yours in Toastmasters? Do you have any vivid memory that you want to share?
I will just say that as being conference chair, the main theme of that conference was superpowers. And I was describing this to a friend of mine yesterday. I actually got that idea listening to a speech that was given at the international level, a competition at the international level, that it made me realize that everybody has superpowers. And yours may be one thing and mine may be something completely different, but we all bring them to the table, and that's what makes things great, because we all have different things that we offer. What about you, Neha?
So my one vivid memory I still will not forget is one of the speeches I gave it at Highway to Excellence is about me killing my husband. And I think this is the speech where it's all about tone. It was all about like you guys have your eyes closed and I'm just telling you a story. I did not expect the way it was received. I thought I was just giving a normal speech, but then I had so many people coming up and saying, "Oh my God, you give us chill and thunders with this murderous story of your husband." And I'm like, okay, I can accomplish this. I don't know I had it in me that I could do that. And there are times still people come and say, I remember that speech of yours. Like it was so scary. So that is definitely one of the recent memories that have struck with me where I can give good speeches if I want, if I can, if I want to. So, but yes, Toastmasters has changed our lives. It brought us together. So that's the one of the best things that I've got from Toastmasters. And I think in our next episode, we do want to talk about how to give feedback and how to receive feedback. That's going to be our episode 2. If you would like to hear more from us, you can definitely subscribe on Spotify. Our podcast is Techies That Talk. And we also have a YouTube channel with the same name, Techies That Talk. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, you can leave it on our YouTube channel. And we are looking forward to see you on episode 2, giving feedback in Toastmasters. Any last words, Jill?
No, not really, other than it's great talking with you.
Yay! See you next time. Bye.